Operations on a process. The objective of this lesson is to describe how processes are created and terminated in operating system. To explain these concepts, we will see some programming examples that use appropriate system calls to create as well as to terminate processes. An important operating system function is to execute user programs. Hence, to execute user programs, operating system must support process creation as well as process termination. Process creation. A process may create several new processes using appropriate system call. This system call varies from operating system to operating system. The name of the system call, it changes with the operating system. For example, in Linux and Unix environment, the name of this system call is fork, whereas in Windows operating system, the name of the corresponding system call that is used to create the process is create process. The process which is creating new processes is called parent process, whereas the newly created processes are called children processes. These children in turn can create other new processes, thus forming a tree of processes. For example, as you can see in this figure, process A has created two new processes, process B and process C. Now A is the parent process and the children of this process are B and process C. Process C in turn has created two more children, process D and process E. Now C is the parent of process D and process E, whereas process A is grandparent of D and E. Likewise, process D and process E are siblings to each other. Each of these processes is identified and managed via a process identifier, which is a unique integer value for every process in the operating system. For example, process A will be assigned a process identifier. Similarly, process B, process C, process D and process E will also be assigned a unique integer identifier that is known as process identifier. From the execution point of view, processes have two options. The first option is parent and children execute concurrently. That is, both parent process as well as child process will execute at the same time. They will execute concurrently. The second option is parent process waits until children terminate. Under this option, process, for example, if process A has created two processes B and process C, then process A will wait until both process B and process C finish their execution. After process B and process C has finished their execution, then process A will continue its execution. From the resource sharing point of view, the processes have three different options. The first option is parent and children share all the resources. That is, operating system has allocated parent process some resources. These resources will also be shared by the children of this parent process. Like in this example, process B and process C will share the resources of process A. The second option is children share subset of the parents' resources. That is, parents' resources, all the parent resources are not allocated to its children. Rather, a subset of the parents' resources will be allocated to its children. The third option is parent and child share no resources. That is, operating system may allocate children a new set of resources. In this case, parent and child share no resources. Both have their own set of resources allocated by the operating system. From the address space point of view, again there are two options. The first option is child process is duplicate of the parent process. This means child process will be exactly the copy of the parent process. Child process will share the code as well as data of the parent process. So child is going to share code plus data. So code and data of the parent process will be shared by the child process. The second option is child has a different program loaded into its address space. So in this case, child will have a different code from the parent code, as well as child will have different data as compared to the parent data. So child will have a different program and data loaded onto its address space. Let's take the example of the Unix operating system. In Unix operating system, fork system call is used to create a new process, whereas execute system call is used after the fork system call to replace the process memory space with a new program. So if child wants to execute a different program, an execute system call will be used after the fork system call to load the address space of the child with the new program. For example, in this figure, it is shown that parent process has executed fork system call to create a child process. So if this is process A, parent process name is process A, this process A is going to create a child process. So what it has to do, it has to execute the fork system call. The semantics of the fork system call is that fork system call creates a new process that will be the child of this process A. And the second thing is fork system call returns an integer value both in parent process as well as in child process. In parent process, fork system call will return the process identifier of the child process. So if this process B has been created in result of this fork system call, then this process B is going to have a unique identifier, a process identifier that will be used to identify this process B. Now this identifier will be returned by the fork system call in parent process, and it will be assigned to this instance PID. Likewise, in child process, fork system call returns a value 0. So in child process, this PID is going to have value 0. Whereas in parent process, the value of the PID will be the PID value of process P. Now, after this process P has been created, from the address space point of view, there are two options as we have discussed, that either child is a duplicate of the parent process or child has a program loaded onto it. So in this case, now this is the execution path of process A, and this is the execution path of new process, process P, which is the child of process A. Now process B has executed exec system call. And what are the semantics of this system call? That this system call is used to replace the process memory space with a new program. So by executing this system call, process B can have loaded a new program into its address space. Now in this example, process A is going to execute a different program and process B is going to execute another program. Now process A has executed wait system call. The semantics of the wait system call is that if parent has executed wait system call, then it will wait for the child to terminate. It will not execute until process B has completed its execution. So process A will wait until process B completes its execution, and by using exit system call, process B will notify that it has finished its execution. So once the child has executed exit system call, it indicates that child has finished its execution, and after a child has finished its execution, process A can continue with its execution. So process A continue with its execution after the child has finished, and so parent process resumes its execution and will complete its execution afterwards. This program shows that how we can use a fork system call in Unix or Linux operating system. So in the main, after including these files, system oblique types.h header file and stdio.h file, unistd.h file, after including these three header files, the main function starts. In the main function, we have this PID instance of the PID underscore T. Now there is a fork system call. This system call is going to use to create a new process, a child process. So it forks a child process. Now, as I said earlier, that fork system call will return an integer value in the parent process, and this integer value is the identifier of the child process. Whereas in child process, fork system call will return value 0. So after this fork system call, both parent and child will execute their execution, will start their execution after the fork system call. So in parent process, fork system call will assign a value to this instance PID, and this value is the PID value of child. So this will be the process identifier value of the child in the parent process, whereas in child process fork system call will return value 0 and that will be assigned to this PID. So after this both parent and child process continue their execution after the execution of fork system call. So the next code segment is if process ID is less than 0. This indicates that if process ID has a value less than 0, that indicates an error condition. This means that fork system call has failed. So in this case, a standard error message will be printed on the screen, fork failed. However, if child has been successfully created, in that case, in child the PID will have a value 0. So this child will execute this section of the code where PID value is 0. So child process, what it is going to do, it has executed execlp system call. This system call, execlp system call, is used to replace the address space of the child process with a new program. And in this case, this new program is --bin ls command. What ls command does, it is a directory listing command in Unix or Linux operating system. It shows the content of the current directory in which this process executable file is placed. So child process will execute this part of the code, because in child process the value of the PID is 0, so child will execute this part of the code. Whereas in parent process the value of the PID is an integer of the child process, so it will execute this part. Parent will execute this final else part, the parent process. And what it is going to do in its part, it is executing a wait system call. That is, parent is going to wait until child has completed its execution, and after child has completed its execution and it will return by using exit system call, then parent continues its execution and parent process is going to print child complete, and after this program has been terminated. Parent process will terminate as well. So according to this program has created a child process, and after this child process completes its execution because parent has executed wait system call, and once child has completed its execution then parent can resume its execution and it will complete its execution as well. Okay, another thing that is that why fork system call may fail. What could be the reason for this? A fork system call may fail due to several different reasons. Like, the first reason is that the maximum number of processes allowed to execute under one user has exceeded. That every user, he may have may execute certain number of processes, and if this user has exceeded its limit to execute a set number of processes, then fork will fail for this user, because this user has exceeded the maximum number of processes that were allowed to this user. Another reason could be that the maximum number of processes allowed on the system has exceeded. So in this case, system has a threshold value that system cannot execute more processes beyond that threshold value, and once system has the number of processes have reached to that threshold value, system will not allow the creation of any more processes. Yet another reason could be that there is not enough swap space. So if there is not enough swap space, again system will not allow the creation of further processes. This program creates a child process in Windows environment. In this C program, the main function starts with two instance variables of the structure startup information and process information. So we have created instance of the startup info structure and an instance variable of process information structure. The startup info structure, this structure specifies many properties of the new process. For example, it will define for the child process the size of window and its appearance. Moreover, startup infrastructure will also provide handles to standard input and output files for the child process. The second structure, process information structure. This structure contains a handle and the identifiers to the newly created process and its thread. So after defining these two instance variables si and pi, we have invoked zero memory function call. Zero memory function call, it allocates memory for each of these structures, startup infrastructure and for the process information structure. As you can see that in the first invocation of zero memory, we have passed it pointer to startup information structure, whereas in the second invocation of this function, we have passed it the pointer to pointer pi. After allocating memory to each of these structures, we are going to execute create process system call. Now this create process system call is equivalent of fork system call. In Windows environment, the name of the fork system call is create process. Unlike the fork system call, which doesn't take any parameter, create process system call takes almost 10 number of parameters. We are not going into the detail of these parameters. Most of the values are the default values for these parameters. The only parameter that we will discuss is this second parameter after the null parameter. This second parameter, C Windows system32 mspaint.exe, this is the name of the program that will be loaded onto the child address space. So paint.exe program will be loaded onto the child address space. So child is going to have this mspaint.exe program. This program will be loaded onto the address space of the child process. And just like in the previous, as we have seen in the previous program, that parent process waits for the termination of the child and then it resumes its execution. Exactly in this program, parent process is going to wait for the completion of the child process. It has parent process will execute wait for single object system call. This is equivalent of wait system call that we have used in the Linux environment. In Windows environment, the name for the wait system call is wait for single object, and this system call has been passed a handle to the child process. So pi.h process, this is the handle for the child process. So through this system call, parent process is going to wait for the termination of the child process, and once child has finished its execution, parent can resume its execution by printing the message child complete. And after this, the handle for the process as well as for the thread will be closed. Process termination. A process executes its last statement and then asks the operating system to delete it. That is, a process can inform operating system that it has finished its execution, and thereafter operating system can deallocate any resources that were allocated to this process. So in Unix environment, a process can inform operating system that it has completed its execution by using exit system call. So exit system call will be used by a process to inform the operating system that it has completed its execution. Sometimes process doesn't use exit system call, rather they simply use return statement to inform operating system that they have completed their execution. So they can return control back to the operating system using return statement. And even in case of return, operating system can deallocate any resources that were allocated to this process. So when a process uses exit system call to inform the operating system about its completion, in that case operating system returns the status data from child process to the parent process. That is, child process will use a code in the exit system call to indicate about its completion status, that whether it has successfully completed or there is some other kind of error or something else. So this status data that is being sent by the child process to the parent process, and parent process, as we have discussed earlier, that parent process is executing wait system call, that it is waiting for the completion of the child process using this wait system call. So this status data, this data will be received through this wait system call with the help of operating system. That is, child has returned the status data using exit system call. Operating system will receive this status data and it will pass it to the parent process via wait system call. There are some cases when child has not completed its execution, but still parent can terminate the execution of child process. So how a parent can terminate the execution of child process? Using abort system call. So using abort system call, parent process can forcibly terminate the child process. Child has not completed its execution, but parent has forced the child process to terminate using the abort system call. So some of the reasons for doing so, that why parent process will do so, some reasons are that child has exceeded allocated resources. So this could be the reason, that if a child process has exceeded its allocated resources, so parent can terminate the child process using abort system call. Another reason could be that the task assigned to the child process is no longer required. That parent process doesn't seem it necessary that child needs to finish its execution. The task that was assigned to the child process, that is no longer required. So parent can abort this process. Another reason is that the parent process is exiting. That is, parent process is going to exit. It is going to complete its execution, and it is going to return any resources back to the operating system. So in this case, when parent process is going to exit, the operating system does not allow a child process to continue if its parent terminates. That is, if parent has terminated or completed its execution before the child process, then operating system will not allow a child process to exist. So again, in this case, child will be terminated. Some operating systems do not allow child to exist if its parent has terminated. So if parent process has terminated, operating system will terminate their children as well. Cascading termination. All children, grandchildren, etc. are terminated when the parent process has terminated. So this is known as cascading termination, that if parent process has terminated, then all its children and grandchildren will be terminated as well. And this termination is performed by the operating system. So who will terminate these children and grandchildren? Operating system will terminate these children and grandchildren. And operating system will do so because parent has completed its execution. Parent has already completed its execution, so there is no reason for the children and the grandchildren to exist. So operating system will terminate any children and grandchildren of this process which has terminated, and this is known as cascading termination. And as we discussed in the last slide, that parent process may wait for the termination of child process by using wait system call. That a parent may wait for the completion of its child process, and if parent wants to wait, then it has to execute wait system call. The call returns status information and the process ID of the terminated process. That wait system call returns an integer value, and what this integer value indicates, this integer value is the process identifier of the child process. So this is the PID of the child that will be returned by the wait system call. So this value, the PID of the child, will be assigned to this instance PID. So wait system call returns the child process identifier, and this is needed to determine, because a parent may have many children. So how a parent is going to know that which of its child has completed its execution? For example, if there was a process A and it has two children, process B and process C, and process C has completed its execution, how parent is going to know that this is process C or child C which has finished its execution? It is not its child B that has finished its execution. So this is indicated by the process ID of the child. So wait system call returns the process ID of the child to the parent. So this is the way that how a parent could know that which of its children has finished its execution. If no parent is waiting, that is a parent doesn't invoke wait system call, the process is called zombie process. So zombie process is a process that has terminated but whose exit status has not yet been received by its parent process. Let me repeat again that zombie process is a process that has terminated. And as we said that when a process terminates using exit system call, it returns its status to the parent process. And if this status has not been received by the parent process, then this child process is known as zombie process because its exit code has not been received by the parent. Another process that is the orphan process. Orphan process is a process whose parent has terminated. That if a process has terminated before its child has finished, then the child has no parent. And the child, a process which has no parent, that is called an orphan process. By default, operating system will assign the init process as the parent of this orphan process. So in init process, this is the uh, system process. This init process will be assigned as the parent of this orphan. So init process can receive the status from the parent from the orphan process when orphan is going to exit. So that's all. Thank you for watching.